I just want to say thank you for being here. Myself, Matt, Lionel came up with this sort of concept, Accelerating AI conference, for about almost 2 years now we've been doing it. This is our 4th one. And it's amazing to see such an engaged audience. Yeah, I just want to say thank you for being here and showing up. I've seen some of you show up multiple times now. So yeah, thank you for being part of this, this journey. My name's Andy. I am the managing director of a company called FliWeel.Tech. I'll be talking to you today about AI agents in action and the rise of digital employees. Okay, so just to give you a little brief intro to who we are. So what's our journey been to date? FliWeel is an AI deployment company. We've been around since 2022, before ChatGPT was a thing, and I have to make that point now. We work with growth companies and enterprise companies as well. Personally, I've been working in the space of AI and data science for about 15 plus years now, so I've been building those technical models that really underpin AI as we see it today. I've spent time in London and also 6 years in San Francisco consulting to a lot of technology companies, including the Facebooks and the Googles of the world, banking, and also fast-growing startups. Some of our clients include London Luton Airport, South Midlands Growth Hub, who are in the room today, and several other organizations. And I'll be talking about one particular client today who will be sharing the stage with me. I also mentioned Dragon as well in the room, who is we've been fortunate enough to work with. So just diving right into where our journey has been in terms of technology. And so what we've kind of illustrated here is just this idea of every revolution rewarded the bold, right? We've moved from Industry 1.0, which was ultimately, you know, the steam power that we were for the first time ever able to discover mechanization. And then we went from there to electricity, where mass production became even more important. From there, and you know, around the late 1960 onwards, we had then computers and digitization, or digitalization is where we started to figure out how we can use computers. And then Industry 4.0, which is where we started to see the early signs of AI. It's not been around 4 years ago or 3 years ago. It's actually been around for a lot longer than that. And then, you know, in the last couple of years, this notion of agents and agentic AI or agentic action, the ability to deploy agents, and we'll be talking a bit about that now. So just kind of thinking a bit more about what are AI agents. I think this term has been thrown around quite a lot today, and you'll see it all over LinkedIn and across a lot of news articles. But the way we think about AI agents, there are 6 key personalities or behaviors in what an AI agent could be described as. So the first is, and the first, most importantly, in the bottom left, is it's goal-oriented, right? So it has a very, very clear objective, and it optimizes for that objective. It's autonomous, so it operates on its own, 24 hours. It can make decisions. It interacts with the environment around it and perceives changes and adapts accordingly. The ability to learn, or more technically known as reinforcement learning, the ability to improve its performance over time. And then workflow optimization, which is doing multiple steps, not just a single step, but a whole process of steps through with the advantage of reasoning, planning, and decision making. And then this notion of multi-agents, which is this concept of agents speaking to other agents. So just to kind of describe what AI agents are and what really they're not, what they are not, right? So they're not exactly the same. You have different types, right? So you have these chat agents. They're often, you discover them on websites, right? Website chatbots, WhatsApp support. Voice agents, these are AI receptionists, call centers. You're starting to see kind of a lot of AI receptionists being able to handle calls, book appointments, right? Browser agents, which are more about being able to interact with the browser that we all interact with, maybe putting data into a web form. And then multi-agent systems, this is really about the ability, like I said, for agents to speak to other agents to complete multiple steps. So we'll talk a bit more about what multi-agent systems are. Really, to define what a multi-agent system is, it's ultimately a network of agents or AI agents that complete tasks, right? Put simply. So you can see here at the top this orchestration agent, and this is almost like, I guess, a company hierarchy, right? You see in any organization, you've got functions, you've got the leader, and then you've got the leader's leader, and so forth. And so you see these different layers of an orchestration agent, which is the brains of the entire organization, followed by maybe sub-orchestration agents, another layer of sub-orchestration agents, and then task agents, which are actually handling individual tasks. And the ability to augment work today with this concept is actually happening more and more. I would also like to call out that having more agents doesn't necessarily mean you'll have more value, right? So it doesn't mean that because I've got 300 agents working for me, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to get much of your ROI or your high quality work. Without proper governance, it can get chatty. It can also cost more, and we'll talk about cost as well. So as we've talked about, start with one before you try to build the whole thing. But the idea here is that we use multi-agent systems to augment our work as we continue to work through our capability of human creativity with AI agents supporting us. So I'll talk about my business brain. So I've been running this company for 4 years, and I'll give you a bit more of a tangible example exactly about the AI-powered organization I have today. Hands up who's using Claude, because I don't think we talked about it enough today. There you go, about 80% of the room. So today I'm using Claude for 80%, 90% of my work day to day. At the bottom, this is a real illustration of what my tech stack looks like. And I think a lot of people in the room that represent companies, let's face it, we use different products. We use HubSpot or Salesforce. We use Gmail or Outlook. We use Xero or QuickBooks. We use Canva, maybe Google Slides, and Granola, my favorite tool right now as an AI note taker. And really, I have today multiple agents that interact with all of these tools, and I only talk to Claude. So this is the interface that we've been talking about today. And that's been really compelling for me personally and our team to do work just far more effectively. So you see here my AI agents. I have one that's a daily to-dos agent, meeting prep, presentations, email triage, accounts reconciliation, financial reporting, and open deals. These are actually connected to all of those underlying applications and surfacing up into Claude and telling me information. So I took a recording, because demos don't always work, of how this works for me. So you can kind of see how I'm applying this today. This is Claude. You probably recognize this as a desktop. You have co-work at the top. And here we have scheduled tasks. These are all my agents that are working there. We have one for Xero reconciliations, outstanding tasks. I'm going to show you the outstanding tasks one. And in here, we have you have a specific agent that's working on this outstanding actions thing. It runs 8:30 every morning, and I have give it a certain set of instructions to look at my Granola notes, my emails, cross-check what was sent and received via email, and then summarize to me every morning, what I need to focus on, because I'm a busy founder. And so these are all my runs that are running every morning, and here is the output for one that I ran in early June. So here I have a scheduled task that's totally run. It's told me, Andy, you need to focus on these particular client projects, the ECA Q2 project, a particular client Braces, accelerating AI conference actions, and several other actions I'm doing today. So co-work in Claude is connected to all of those downstream applications, in this case, Granola and Gmail, to just literally tell me, what do I need to focus on today, the most important things today. And of course, you can use project management tools, right? I thought, I don't want another SaaS application to play for. I'll just use Claude to do that for me. So I hope that was insightful. Right, moving on. So we'll move on to a different topic, vibe coding. Who's heard of vibe coding? Okay, so about 50% of the room. So those people that have heard of vibe coding, have not heard about it. It is essentially using prompts to build applications, right? The ability to build apps in hours, not days, weeks, months, years. And so there are a whole array of tools out there. Claude, Codex, Lovable. Lovable became really, really popular right at the beginning. Google AI Studio Cursor, GitHub Copilot. These are great tools for using and building apps. But there's a big important distinction between when it works and when it doesn't. When it works, it's great for SMEs, micro companies, or that have very small teams or maybe solo founders. It's great for building an experiment, right? Building a small demo, a prototype, and you can spin products up really quickly. You can do that in Claude as well if you pay for that £15 license. It's very cheap and accessible today. So you can almost do it yourself. Obviously, you can use us or a specialist to help with that because, let's say, face it, you are busy. And we tend to focus on other maybe client-facing or client high value things. But when it doesn't work, and this is where it's really, really important, is for companies that are a bit larger in terms of team size, they're working with customer-facing products, they've got sensitive data, business critical applications. These are really, really important factors that you need to consider when you're thinking about building generative AI products or tools or products with AI. Because data sovereignty, accuracy of using guardrails, audit trails, governance and compliance, these are areas that are just completely forgotten about. Because suddenly we start thinking we are a coder, and the dream that Claude and all these companies tell you is we can build an app in an hour. But the reality is we forget that actually there's far more than just that 0 to 1, which is that left side from 1 to 100 or 1 to 1,000, which is a very, very important distinction when you're building applications. So if you want to build a 0 to 1, go ahead and do it and use that. It's great for that. But from that 1 to 100 or 1 to 1,000 product that you're trying to think about, that's when you need a specialist. If you don't believe me, here's some examples of when AI has actually gone wrong. And I think we talk a lot about amazing demos that work all the time. But let's face it, even the biggest companies, right? They really, really struggle as well. So reputational damage. We see DPD, where their chatbot started to swear at a customer. McDonald's had an AI agent or an AI product, accidentally ordered 18,000 cups of water. Financial damage. Chevrolet sold a $76,000 car for $1. OpenAI got fined. They were fined 15 million for a GDPR breach in Italy. And then catastrophic damage. So Arup, a large construction engineering company, lost 25 million on a deepfake CFO video call. And then McKinsey, very prestigious consultancy company, their AI platform was hacked in 2 hours, and 47 million chat messages were exposed. And so, if they're doing things wrong, I think there's a huge part and role we have to play in where is our data residing. Are we doing, OpenAI, these are the guys that are building some amazing tools right now. Even they're screwing up, and we just need to be very responsible about the things that we're building today, or the tools that we're using as well at the same time. So just moving on, I'm going to invite John Sidwick and give you a real life case study. Pray for me, this is going to be a real demo. And talk to you about a real project that we have been working on over the last few months. I'm going to invite John from Blue Touch Paper, and he will quickly introduce himself, and then we'll go through.
Shall I choose that? Hi, nice to see everybody. Thank you for being here. The weather's got nice again. In fact, every season in about 30 seconds. Blue Touch Paper, John Sidwick. I'm a co-founder of the business. We're based in Bedford, so not too far from here. Spent 25, 30 years in corporate life, but the last 4 years been building a consultancy business. We work on go-to-market strategy and channel intelligence with companies ranging from the companies in this room, like the Microsofts of this world, the Lenovo's, Logitech's, and also smaller companies as well. In the UC collaboration space, so very much IT based.
Great. So could you tell us about a bit more about what you were looking to build? I know you came actually to the last Accelerating AI event.
Yep.
That's where we met.
Yep.
What journey were you on? What were you looking to build? And tell us a bit more about the project.
And we need 2 microphones next time.
Yes.
Yeah, we're a company that we actually execute globally. We have global customers, and they're the biggest clients in the world I mentioned earlier, as well as smaller clients. But there's only 2 of us, just 2 people. So we were looking to say, luckily as a startup, we were looking to build from the ground up a more of an AI-centric environment. We were lucky when we started, there wasn't such a word as AI. 3 or 4 years ago, in this room, you wouldn't have mentioned it. But we had the capability of building a business that could scale rapidly, deliver results quickly, with high quality, but also with all the things that you need to have when you're dealing with large blue chip companies like Microsoft. You know, security, integrity, and the trust in the data that you carry for them, the data that you generate. So we wanted to find a partner that could help us do that. Yeah, we're quite entrepreneurial, quite creative. We like doing our own things, and we do a lot in that 0 to 1 type environment. We do play around a lot, but we're busy people. So we wanted to have somebody with expertise. Luckily, I came to this event. Luckily, we started talking, and we went to Andy and said, look, how can we take a channel intelligence product where we speak to companies globally, ingest data, and then use that data to provide intelligence for us, and ultimately, if we get this really right, produce an engine that we can take to the outside world and sell as an application for people to learn more about the industry that we're in and the intelligence that we generate. So we spoke to Andy, and we're doing it, and it's working. And what we're finding now is it's changed our business. We were talking earlier on, and it'd be wrong to say that it's made us better or quicker or faster without saying we're doing things that we would never have been able to do before. 2 people can act in a way that I don't think even 200 people could. A lot of our intelligence is ourselves, so a lot of our IP is our intelligence and 30 years industry experience. That all now sits within our Copilot tenant. So we've got organizational intelligence, we've got that work IQ that was mentioned earlier, and we can overlay that into the data that's been produced and organized by FliWeel to produce a product that I just think is fantastic, and we've only just started.
Cool. Should we give a demo?
We've got any kids and animals to bring along as well? You know what happens with demos, live demos.
All right. So, why do you guide me?
Prepare a couple of questions.
Yeah.
So we deal with vendors, big customers, and also we use it for our own research. So a couple of things that have cropped up a lot. So we have resellers asking us.
You're just in the way, I think.
Sorry, I'll move over.
So this is a chatbot that we've built, essentially.
Yeah, so this is the engine that's been built by FliWeel. And we've had a number of iterations. What I love about the FliWeel environment, we work in quick sprints, which puts pressure on both sides to produce results. In such a fast-moving environment, it's absolutely imperative that you move quickly. So question 1, which vendors should I consider when selling a collaboration solution? As a reseller, yeah.
It's a big question.
I know, too many words.
Which vendors?
So the point here is that we have Channel Agent, that's our product. That is was stolen by Microsoft afterwards, by the way. Just want to say.
So which vendors should I consider?
Which vendors should I consider when selling a collaboration solution? So we deal with resellers, they ask us for recommendations, what vendors should they deal with? Now, it's actually going to say, if you test this, it says, well, can we be more specific? So say UC hardware brands. So what I like is that FliWeel have built prompts in, which we'll show in a bit in a minute. So this produces a whole load of information on which brands is recommended, and this is from our own research. We speak to hundreds of global companies on a quarterly basis. We ingest this information, so it's not just scraped from the web. This is our data producing this information, which is absolutely imperative because our IP is our data and our experience. Some prompts below, so let's just pick how does Cisco team certification strategy compare to others. So you get prompts which then help people make decisions. And this is really, I would say, a beta environment. We're just starting to build this. If you think in a year's time, 2 years' time, we'll have thousands and thousands of hours of information that we get from our channel advisory board members globally and our vendor meetings globally. Plus we'll have our own organisational intelligence. This will just grow in strength, and it'll be great for our organisation, two of us, but also from a business point it's great, but also from a client delivery, it's going to deliver levels of intelligence they will not be able to get elsewhere. Shall I do a quick note, one more?
Sure, yeah. Very quickly, yeah.
As a researcher, so we put reports in, so we do a quarterly report. So let's look at one report. So Q3, sorry, question.
As a researcher?
Yeah, as a researcher. What are the key takeaways from the platform report? So platform report, we actually did a report for Microsoft, Google, Zoom, and asking the channel about platforms, I mean, 365, Google, Zoom. So let's see what, oh, something went wrong. Please try it. Yeah, I told you, we tried it once and it worked. Is it, and you can try and
This is the problem with demos, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, there you go. I did steal an MDev one. We do work for Microsoft, and somebody asked me how I got my company called MDev. No, Microsoft Ecosystem Development Platform. Stole the jacket. But as you can see, so I think the takeaway from here is I've got a couple of things that I've taken away from this event. One is you've got to move quickly. We realise we've got to be quick, but you've got to do it with security control and knowing that the data that you're using. I've seen so many people use data in areas and you think, it's just crazy. You know, you've got confidential company information that's not being protected. But you've got to kind of balance speed, development, data, security, and confidence of your customers, and work out where you stop and a partner can make that happen. And I think from a FliWeel perspective, that's what we've got.
Great. Thank you so much.
Is that enough?
Yeah, we're just going to, thank you so much, John. Yeah, I appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you.
He's got to run off, so I just want to wrap up with a couple more slides. So what does it take to build an AI tool, an AI product, right? Especially external facing products. There's certain considerations you need to make because when you're building it, there are lots of factors at play. Cost, so tokens, we haven't really talked about that, but when you're running AI, there are tokens being used and consumed. So think about right-sizing your model. You don't want a Ferrari for a milk run. Right? So you've got expensive models, you've got cheaper models, you have free models. Performance, will it be fast enough? If you're scaling to 100 users, 1,000 users, 10,000 users, 1 million users, well, then you want to think about latency, you want to think about performance. Quality, is the output accurate and consistent? When you're building an agent, sometimes you find inconsistencies on those outputs. So you need to test them with real data, build those feedback loops. And then the last three about security, governance, data privacy, which we keep banging on about, but those are often forgotten in the context of vibe coding or building products with just inexperienced folks. But ensure that you're using least privileged rights, assign a named owner, and then really think about the mapping of data flows. And then lastly, a human override. When AI goes wrong, we need a backup, a fallback, right? So how are we rerouting those outputs to a human? And building a kill switch if we need to. So the list goes on. There's lots of areas and considerations to make when you're building AI products that work at scale and safely. How do we work? If you're curious, we work with growth companies and enterprise companies 2 ways. The sprint model, as John mentioned, 6 weeks. We work with teams that want to just build that first proof of concept, a working prototype. We go from discovery workshops through to build, test, deploy, measure ROI, and then in 6 weeks you would have a set of results to say, do we move on or do we scrap it? And then trusted AI partner is really for those organizations that say, we just want AI to be at the forefront of our entire strategy, right? And so we would want to build AI into the fabric of the organization, and we want to stay ahead of our competition. And so we do this in a quarterly cycle, 6 weeks, one per quarter. And we'll build function-specific AI priorities. We'll build those prototypes every 6 weeks, every quarter. But in addition to that, change management and adoption. We don't want tools just sat there. We want them to be used, and we want them to be monitored. So it's very, very important that we don't just build AI tools for the sake of building software and tools, but they're actually adopted by the organization as well. And that's typically like a 12-month engagement. Yeah, that's about it. If you want to give me a follow, scan my LinkedIn QR code. We've worked with, as you see there at the top, the different types of organizations. If you want to have a talk about AI with me, tap me on the shoulder, or we can go for a beer. Let me know.